this is my Instagram page right now, 12,000 followers. I've got these carousels that are going out currently completely automatically. I've got my videos being edited and published completely automatically. I don't log into Instagram, guys. I don't. Now, the cool thing about this workflow, my friends, is that now this is running for us, and you can see it's completely running fully autonomously. You know, these carousels are doing better than any of the carousels I used to create completely manually. Okay, so you can see 23 shares, 19 saves, 1,348 views. The same for this. You know, this is expanding our reach. This is all free reach. So saves, 13 saves. You know, this doesn't necessarily look like slop. And that's the whole idea, my friends, is that this is a unique style, you know, completely bespoke to our brand. The content is dialed in, the look and feel is dialed in, and ultimately this is saving me a huge amount of time every single week. Guys, let's face it, being on social media kind of sucks. So I'll be the first to admit it. I have explored so many different variations of how to automate a content workflow and a content pipeline in a way that doesn't feel completely soulless and inauthentic. So the biggest problem I was facing was, hey, I don't like to spend a lot of time creating content, but also don't like just posting ChatGPT and Claude content itself. I needed to have a solution that, you know, felt on brand. It didn't look like AI slop, and ultimately it performed at the end of the day. So I can sit back, not log into Instagram, and manage my business from my digital home backend and kind of be more detached from the whole world of dopamine capitalism, because it is a hook that you probably don't know you're hooked by, but it's definitely affecting the quality of life that you're currently living. And just remember, the whole point and purpose of having a digital home that you own and control is that you're escaping the clutches and the claws of the greedy fat cat digital landlords who are stealing your attention, keeping you locked on social media, addicted to the dopamine hit. And don't get me wrong, I'm the first to admit it, that I've been addicted for way too long. And that's really why we build digital sovereign infrastructure, so you own the ground you stand on. Now, a very important part of that is decoupling you from what's happening on social media, all right? I pay a social media manager to monitor my DMs, but essentially all of my systems are set up so I don't have to play that game. All I have to do is go into my digital home backend, manage my content topics, what's being published, and then ultimately it is automatically getting scheduled right here into my social media management dashboard. All right, so you can see things which are published, you can see our carousels that have gone out, and the performance is also hooked up to our social media content agent that then goes in and refreshes us with high-performing pieces of content. So I've effectively removed myself from the content pipeline, which, guys, is a flippin' win at the end of the day. I can't tell you how much time this has saved me. So, my friend, without further ado, let me just show you a demonstration of this workflow end to end. So if you are not familiar with the digital home setup, this is a backend CMS system and CRM system that we've replicated and created inside of Claude Code. That entire code base and repository is available for you inside of our Skool community for $14 a month. You can log in there, get it, and build your own and save yourself months and months of trial and error to have a fully functioning sovereign business system that you own, that you don't pay any subscriptions for. So we've got our website here, and you'll see that we've got our Learn page over here too, where we've got our SEO and GEO optimized articles publishing every single day. We create that long form piece of in-depth content, and then that gets turned into emails, carousels, social media ads, whatever we ultimately want, but that whole distribution pipeline is done end to end for us. So I'm going to choose one of our topics over here. So why the best website builder won't save an invisible business. I really like that topic. Let's approve that. And then let's drag that over into writing. Okay, so this is going to trigger the article creation process. All right, guys, so you can see our article has been created and written. So let's just check that out on our site. And there it is. Okay, so now in most instances, most businesses, this article would literally just collect dust and stay there forever. But we're going to take that a step further. We're going to get this live on Instagram in a flash. So I'm going to go to the digital dash. No, I'm joking. I'm going to go to my social media calendar. I'm going to go over here to my operator, which is basically our AI agent that's built into the digital home backend. And I'm just going to say, create a carousel from our most recent article. All right, so you can see what this is doing now is it's noticed and it's spotted the article that's just been created, why the website builder won't save an invisible business, which I love as a title. And you can see now that the content factory is working. Okay, so now it's essentially running through our entire process, and it should share us a bunch of references here in the backend. Now, one thing that this is not is it isn't actually just getting GPT Image 2 to create carousel images. I've created a video on that in the past, and frankly, that workflow didn't work for me because I just found it impossible to get rid of the AI slop vibe. I couldn't help it. Right now, GPT Image 2 makes your content look like every other flippin' AI slop posting machine out there. And so I wanted to have a system that ultimately allowed me to give more guidance on what the design was ultimately going to look like. So essentially what I did was I created a bunch of my own custom templates, all right? So you'll see here that in Figma, I designed a bunch of hero variants of different carousel styles I like. Now, you might notice the images. Where did I get these beautiful images from? Well, check out my last video on our Midjourney image creation process. Okay, so we basically batch create 300 to 400 different image variations that live on our database that we have now trained the carousel process to ultimately use. And you can see here that I've given all of these variations to Claude, which has basically built these out into specific templates that our AI agent can use depending on what content we're actually publishing. All right. So essentially, every single run of this operator is basically coding our carousel. So it's building it in HTML code. And that means our carousel creation process costs $0 because we create the template once and it can get reused over and over again through this AI process. All right. So we've also done 2 formats and 2 potential permeations of what a carousel could look like. So inside of this workflow, what you'll notice is that we have 2 types of carousel that could be published from an article. One is the archetypal format, which is more of a belief that we actually own. So you can see here, your business doesn't have a system, it has you, and it goes through these different styled cards. Okay, and that's all I gave it. Then we've got the functional format, and the functional format is more like how-to based content, where we have 3 core points that we want to communicate. So you can see here, we've got point 1, the answer, point 2, the answer, point 3, the answer, and that's it. All right. So I've essentially mocked up 2 different styles of carousel, and I've also done a bunch of hook variations. Now, you don't have to go this complex, by the way. You could open up Canva and just create one templated version that you like, export it, give it to Claude, and you'll basically have this completely automated for you as well. All right. So what we're essentially going to do for all of our members inside of our Skool community. So if you've got your digital home backend set up already, I'm going to be dropping in a skill as soon as this video is released that you can use to drop into your coding agent, and it'll give you this entire automation that you can plug and play. All you have to do is provide the template and the vibe. And the reason we're doing this, my friends, is because you have to create something that is unique to your own brand. Build your own damn style. Use your brain and your creative muscles, because once you do it once and it is replicated forever. And that's the beauty of this process. The skills that I'm giving you essentially do this. A published article goes out. The agent chooses what the article's job is. Is it teach a method or express a belief? And then it goes down the 2 different engines, the functional engine or the archetypal engine. All right. And this is exactly what it does for you. Okay. So this really is the juice of this entire system. Whether you're creating functional content or archetypal content, that's now baked into the skill. It then copyrights the whole thing. It then turns it into 10 connected slides, sends it to you for the anti-slop review. Then it's visual production. You schedule it, you post it, and it's good to go. All right, so we're going to check back in just a moment and see what happens. Okay, guys, so you can see here we've got our carousel to review. All right, so we can just flick through this. You can see it's written, I'll be honest, I don't think a website builder is the problem. 1,000, blah, blah, blah. So it's built in a testimonial, which is pretty cool from our brand brain. Rented reach disappears. Okay, so I mean, look, guys, it's kind of cool. All right, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool. So now, I actually want to make a few changes. Okay, for example, some image placements, like there's a weird little line there and stuff like that. So I'm gonna just get that to make the changes. But just for the purpose of this demo, you don't need to see me iterate because a lot of this is done now just back and forth. Now, one thing I do want to be very clear on is I don't always use this process or execute it directly through this operator. Sometimes I do it directly via my Telegram connection, which is my Hermes bot connected directly to Telegram. All right, so you can see here sometimes, I'm just having a full stack conversation with it in Telegram, and that's what I did with my last one. So, and that's really the benefit of having own custom software is I can say, I can manage it from Telegram if I'm on the go, or I can do it directly from here. For the purposes of this demo, it was much easier to do it via here. So I'm just going to say approve and schedule. All right, and I'm going to go over to my social media calendar, and you'll see here that tomorrow our social media carousel is ready to go. Okay. Now, provided guys, a few little tweaks that I'd make, get rid of that, but I just do that by speaking to the operator directly in my chat. And also one thing that you got to know, my friends, is that you can also do this via Claude Code. It doesn't really matter what system you use to do it. The logic and the process of creating these carousels lies the same. I like to have it in my backend because I can see my content. I can see how things are performing. I can review them. I can chat to the operator, etc., etc. And things are pretty clear. So for example, I can say, can you please change the image for image 2 and also change the image for image 5? And then please notice on image 8, there's like a weird blue line across the word which says week. Okay, so my friends, that's the entire process end to end. Now, I would be lying to you if I knew exactly what was happening on the back end. All I know is that I provided my own knowledge around marketing and carousel creation copywriting. I told AI what I wanted, and it figured out the back-end system for me. Okay, because we've got all of this great content. I wanted it to publish automatically, and I also wanted a simple way to ultimately see, review, and match how it was doing. And all I did was provide my own templates. The actual technical side of things, guys, I honestly have no idea how it works. I'll be perfectly honest with you. And that's why I got AI to take all of the troubleshooting that we did to create this process and turn it into 2 specific upgrade skills. So if you have your digital home backend set up and you've connected your social media platforms, then all you have to do is drop those 2 skills into Claude Code or whatever coding agent you're using, and it will figure out the rest. It'll tell you exactly what you need to provide it, and then you can start plugging in and ultimately running this process. Okay, so in order for you to be able to replicate this, I recommend you watch this video, which will show you how to create image styles, create your image bank, and then take the 2 skills that I'm giving you inside of our Skool community and run it inside of whatever coding agent you're in. That's going to give you the backend upgrade and automated publishing workflow so that you can start creating carousels directly from your digital home and escape the horrible and detrimental trap of dopamine capitalism. So you can run your business from your own operating software without being in the weeds every single day, wasting your precious life's attention span. All right, my friends. So any questions, drop them below. I'll see you on the next one.